Hello reviewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about drone delivery. So let's dive right into it. Now first you have to understand what exactly is the problem that we need to employ this kind of technology. Well, there are many medical supply that are time critical. For example, blood. Now this puppy, you may be like, okay, we just collect more blood. Well, we can, but problem is they have expiry date of less than a month. Meaning, once you collected the blood, you have to keep it in a way where you can easily ship it out, and then you're like, either use it or throw it away. And yes, I do mean it, throw it away. That's a real thing that happens because we cannot preserve blood for much longer than that. Heck, many people are saying like 20 2 days are like pushing it. So there are many supplies like this in medical industry that are like, no, it has to be done instantaneously. Then we come to another aspect, like even if you're talking about big companies like Amazon or Domino's, you can ask them, it's like how much money it takes for you to take, let's say, your product from USA to India. They'll be like, okay, this much, like, $10,000 per ton or something like that. Let's just assume that. Now ask them how much money it takes to take that last mile. It would be the same amount. Like you can travel across country and it will take you same amount of money to travel inside the country because of that last mile problem. So basically you will have a giant warehouse. Till that point your system is awesome. The moment a person has to take it out and deliver it to homes, yeah, you lost all your efficiency. So this is a very frustrating thing for every company. And you have to understand that you may think, okay, the vans, the bikes, things of that nature would be expensive. Well, yeah, they are, but not so much. The biggest expense in this sort of system is the human involved. Now you have to pay them salary. Yes, this is not the latest and greatest, this is not neurosurgeon science and all that jazz, but you still have to pay them. So in those sort of scenarios, these start to add up. Then we come to another aspect. People like me, they want cheap products. It's like, hey, can you send it for me cheap? Like I literally bought this Xbox White simply because it was the cheapest option. If I bought like a red and all that jazz, it would have been like 400-500 rupees more expensive. But you see the point, it's like every Tom, Dick and Harry wants it cheap. So you have a clash of interest here. It's like person wants to get paid more while people want the product for cheaper. So that creates a problem. So it's a logistical nightmare. Like how the heck are you gonna manage your things? You cannot charge too much for delivery. People will simply not order it. If you charge too little, you will have a very hard time paying for your employees. So there is a very serious nightmare of people trying to balance these things out. So how can drones solve this problem? Because drones do have some limitation. They can carry only small loads. Now here's the deal. That's what exactly is needed for last mile delivery. It's not needed for taking from one warehouse to another warehouse. No, you don't need that. Just from delivery warehouse to the person's home, that it can do. Then we come to another aspect. It has very short range for takeoffs. So what does that mean? That simply means let's say you buy a drone from a seller, and that seller authorizes this puppy for, let's say, 30 kilometers. Does not mean you can go to 30 kilometers. That simply means you can go to 10 kilometers, have enough energy in reserve to circle around the problem and deal with issues, and then come back. Because you have to understand, you also have to come back. So this is what you call bingo fuel, I think, in avionics. So they basically, any range that you are specifying, you can only go to 40% of that, like again, because you also have to come back. So that's another issue. However, that's still within the range capability of modern drone system and modern delivery logistics. It's like, yeah, people deliver in that kind of range. Think of it this way. Domino's, you can have, like my friend Shvinder has a Domino's, but problem is like his home is outside the delivery window, even though there are people with bikes. So that's an issue, not for drone, because our logistics is kind of aligned beforehand. Then we come to the most interesting part. These are autonomous, meaning you don't have to pay someone to do this. Like, of course, you will have one individual to take care of the situation. Let's say that individual charges like equivalent of 3 delivery drivers, but he can do the work, like indirectly do the work of, let's say, 7 to 10 delivery drivers. Then it's like a net profit for them. So that's the whole point, autonomous drone. Then many people have criticized, and rightly so, that drones are expensive. Yes and no. Yes, they are expensive right now. Like drones that I'm showing you here, they are expensive, but not expensive because they are expensive. They are expensive because they are not mass produced. What you are seeing here is what we classify as prototype units. So they are idiotically expensive. Think of it this way. Basically, Hacksmith built a half-scale model of a Tesla truck. It costed him more than a real Tesla truck. How the heck? Mass production. So cost of these drones will come down drastically once they figure out this is the design, this is what we're gonna do. Cost will go to zero, and it has happened. You know this, and you have experienced. Imagine it, like how was your phone in the early days? How much you had to pay to get even bare metal? Like I remember there used to be a phone, and the big selling point, it can store 200 numbers. Damn. So that's the whole point. Once mass production hits, the price will go down. Now let's talk about a real life actual success story, Zipline. Now this puppy is the actual working system. Like there is a drone system in a country. Now be mindful, this country is in middle of Africa, and I've read the video down below. Please do check it out. It is quite amazing. And they have built a whole ecosystem. Now that's the most amazing part. They realized the problem. It's like they have bad roads, as in like they're in this capital, amazing roads. The moment you go outside of the capital, yeah, road, what are those? Like, let me put it this way. As an Indian, I can say that. Let that sink in. Their roads are that bad. So what does that mean? That simply means in case of hospitals, they either have to keep way too much blood or have to keep collecting, because be mindful, blood have a very quick expiry date. So they have to collect too much, and many hospitals can't afford that. So consequence of that scenario would be is that you have a hospital, a person goes there, if they can find the blood in, let's say, 1 hour or 2 hours, they're like, good, we can do the emergency surgery, everything is fine, we can save a life. They can't do that because roads are that bad. On top of that, you have monsoon season there in, like, that is around 2 months long. So 2 months, as in like they come twice, so in the early year and the late year. So it's very destructive. So this company was created with that problem specifically in mind. So they are like, okay, we're gonna create a drone system. We can have a centralized blood system, so we can have much better equipments to manage it, much better power system to manage it, and much more volume to manage it. And they are like, okay, we got the blood system. So the moment a hospital gets a call for it's like, okay, we need O positive. Let's just go with that. You need O positive. Okay, they will receive a call, and then they're gonna start working. And the real life record is less than an hour delivered, and that's for the furthest location. That's very good. That's awesome. And they built a whole ecosystem. For example, this plane drops in what we call use and throw boxes. So these boxes are very cheap, use and throw, and they do have basically bubble wrap and specific stuff to protect the blood, and they utilize paper parachutes. I do not know whether you guys used in your childhood. It's like we used to have this strings, we pull it up, twing, throw it out, and it will have a parachute to land us. Basically bigger version of that. So it does not, the drones does not have to land. And drone, because it's carrying actual blood, has dual redundancy and everything. For example, the motors, it only needs one to fly, but it still has two, and one of them is always deactivated. In case of a malfunction, the backup one will trigger. In case of actuators, everything has dual redundancy. In case of complete failure, it has a parachute system that will work independently of everything. So it's quite amazing. And they have, like, everything is modular. For example, this whole section that you see, fuselage, that's the only thing that is intact. Wing they attach on, battery they attach on, and payload they put inside. And it's quite amazing. I would urge you to check that video. It's quite amazing. Like, why do they keep battery separate? So they can charge it and make sure the GPS lock is activated 24/7, because GPS lock takes time. So that's amazing. Like, they have actually managed, in some cases they have actually managed to deliver blood to an emergency patient in less than 30 minutes. That's amazing. So they are very quick, efficient, and modular. So if they have a situation, let's say a bird hits the wing, they can swap the wing out. If they have a problem with a faulty battery unit, they have a separate battery unit. So it's quite amazing. Then we come to what we can, that's current system, but it does require launcher and catcher, because they launch it, because takeoff takes a lot of energy. So they're like, okay, we're gonna launch it through a catapult. So A is faster, B, it saves a lot of electrical energy. So, you know, cruising is much cheaper than taking off. So hybrid VTOL drones are the way of the future at this point in time. So why? Primary reason, fuel is better than battery. There is no situation where you can build a battery. Like, and here's the lithium ion energy is this here. Like, this is the 100% efficient. This is theoretical maximum energy output you can get. We are here. So do not expect any time in the future it's like this battery will have 10 times more energy. Yeah, no, that's not happening. At best, you can achieve a battery that has much longer lifespan, much more fire redundancy. Those things, awesome. Cheaper price, that's everybody's primary goal at this point in time. But do not expect it's like, okay, 1 liter of battery will go from let's say, 1 kilowatt hour to 500 kilowatt hour. That's not gonna happen. So fundamentally speaking, on a chemical level, fuel is far better than any battery system. You can take a fuel, 1 kilogram of fuel versus 1 kilogram of battery. It's not even a competition at 20% efficiency. I'm talking 20% conversion efficiency. You will still get more basically bang for your buck in terms of fuel, and since you are talking about flying, you have to conserve weight. So that's the first thing. You have to have a fuel system if you want to travel far. Another aspect is wind. Basically, wings are better than props. So if you have a drone that are going like this, yeah, it does work. It does fly. We know this, but it's not very efficient. That's the prime reason we do not travel large distances over aircrafts. That's the primary reason. Helicopters are like not efficient. Same happens for this system. So you want to have wings. So when you're traveling, you want to use wings. That's why Zipline is relying on wing system rather than drone system. So you want wing, because if you have the same amount of energy, it's like, let's say 5 kilowatt of energy, how far you can go on a drone versus how far you can go on a plane, that would be drastically different, as in like multiple times further and faster based on wing design. So people want to do that. And you want VTOL system. While Zipline system is a custom built system, it does work, it is reliable, it's still not something that you want to have, because again, those puppy do not land. They're like, they just drop utilizing parachute. If Amazon wants to do it, they want to, you know, drop the product safely. So that's a bit unacceptable. So that's why hybrid system which utilizes some form of fuel, whatever, because my personal idea would be to utilize a methane based system utilizing a solid oxide fuel cell, because many of these designs that do work, they do have a side effect. They have an independent petrol engine. That means there is an engine that is dead weight when it's not flying. So I would like a propeller design which propeller moves forward. Consequence, there is one moving parts. Benefit, you don't have to carry extra thing. All you will have is a fuel tank and a solid oxide fuel cell that will convert the fuel into energy, and that puppy can achieve 50% efficiency in real life today. So that could give you that would be how I would approach it. Other people are approaching it in different ways. Some people even included a jet engine in one of these things. So what we can expect in the future, now this is one thing you have to understand thoroughly and very well. It's gonna happen sooner or later. It's gonna happen. It's absolute at this point in time. And right now the biggest problem is not the product, not the technology, is goddamn better regulations. Because the video I provided, it's 2 years back, and the video of DHL trying to experiment with this sort of thing, that goes like I think 4 or 5 years ago. So technology is there, we got this. Technology is like, we sorted it out, but regulations has not caught up. So we do not know how the heck we're gonna manage the insurance, how the heck we're gonna manage the data, how the heck we're gonna manage, like, you know, 10,000 things that we have to manage. Regulation has not caught up. So that's the biggest bottleneck at this moment. Then we come to another aspect. Job shortage is a real concern, because many people have this kind of messed up expectation of reality where it's like everybody can do everything. No, you can't be Einstein. So same applies for everything else. For example, like India has a good institutes in IITs, and a lot of people go through it. Here's the deal. Many people think the primary selection, deselection, so to say, happens before you go to the entrance exam. But here's the deal. Real life is much harder than that. Real life happens once you cross the university, and then you have to find a job. Then you'll find, wait a minute, hundreds of colleges sent hundreds and thousands of students with like proper grades, properly done everything, and they are having a hard time finding jobs. Not everybody is cut out for this, and like some people maybe not excited. Like some people is like, dude, I followed a script, like my parent told me to do this, I did that. It's like just did not work out. Things happen. So this sort of job, while it's not the amazing job, not something where you want to be like, I'm proud of you this, but it is a job. It is a real job. It pays. Like, again, it does not pay very well, but it does pay. And for people who have nothing, this is more than enough. Yes, for a rich person, it's like, dude, I will not even touch this. Yes, that's absolutely true. But for many people, this is a actual living wage. Now, again, people do not like that term. It's like, it's not living wage. Yes, I specify. You would not pay higher prices for your delivery system. So that's why that's like bare minimum. Yes, this is bare minimum, but it is better than zero. This better than zero will become zero if this technology, drone technology, starts to take over, which it will. So it is something that people have to sit down, think thoroughly, and figure things out. So this was my presentation on drone delivery. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share, comment with a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.